In a recent interview, the head of Xbox Game Studios Matt Booty revealed Microsoft's intentions of getting to a point where it can release a new first-party game every quarter. The goal behind this move is to keep the Xbox Game Pass service thriving through a consistent flow of new content for players to experience. As the portfolio grows, the service should as well. But there is an issue here. This is the same statement that he said 2 years ago in an interview with IGN. People may argue that, then they had 15 studios, now they have 23 with the acquisition of Bethesda. But it's been over 640 days since Xbox has released a AAA game. And saying this for years that wait for E3, and giving false hopes about releasing games is just embarrassing Xbox and its gamers. You can argue that it's pandemic, but here on the other side PlayStation has been releasing banger after banger, with gaudy contenders and winners. You cannot argue that, and releasing a game every quarter may be easy. But releasing a quality game every quarter is difficult, and PlayStation is doing that for years. Even now, since the PlayStation 5 launch, we got Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls Remake, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, Returnal, and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. All of them are top quality games where Miles Morales is a blockbuster hit. Xbox Series X launched with no first-party games, which is the first incident in gaming history when releasing a new generation console. After that, Phil Spencer had a meeting with Microsoft's CEO Satya Nadella, and said that others bring console games to PC years later, not only making people buy their hardware up front, but then charging them a second time to play on PC, is how Spencer describes PlayStation's efforts to port previously console-exclusive games. Spencer never states the PlayStation brand directly, but there's no intention to confuse. There are no other Xbox competitors that so clearly correlate to what Spencer is describing. PlayStation releases its older games on PC, even if it affects the brand, but giving a sample to the PC gaming community and turn them towards the PlayStation is a good move. But here it is clear that Phil Spencer is not a very bright leader. They are doing their thing, and they are doing great this way, and still leading the industry. Next up, he goes even further, saying that Xbox is the only company that gives quality to games to its customers, which is a total lie. This is a disrespect from Phil Spencer to other game developers. Xbox had not released a first-party quality game for 7 long years. But he had the audacity to come out there and disrespect other developers, saying that Xbox is the only one that release quality games. I am done with Phil Spencer after Xbox and 343 treated Halo like nothing, and turned that franchise into a middle-tier shooter. The false marketing that Xbox has been doing that it is the fastest console out there. It's not true. The PlayStation 5 is the fastest hardware, faster than both Xbox Series X and high-end PCs with top-tier SSDs. Because it has nearly zero bottlenecks, and can reach 22 GB per second of I/O throughput, according to Mark Cerny, and Moore's Law is dead. Mark Cerny designed both the PS4 and the PS5, and also the mid-gen PS4 refreshes. So, the false marketing and fooling the gamers are still going around when it comes to Xbox and its executives. Microsoft is already in talks with TV manufacturers to build TVs that already have Xbox experiences built into them. Obviously, such a TV would still require a compatible Xbox controller to play the games, and, since it would no doubt need to be done via cloud streaming, the TVs would need to be able to connect to the internet. Aside from that, Microsoft is also making streaming devices that can be connected to a TV or monitor and provide access to games. Both of these methods completely bypass the need for a console, but it would ultimately depend on how much one of these TVs or streaming devices ends up costing. Plus, they're unlikely to be appealing to physical game purists who much prefer own hard copies of their games. However, it's only further proof of how the industry is trying to move away from selling physical games and encourage people into embracing a digital-only future. Microsoft is already committed to cloud gaming, with IGN's report also mentioning that cloud gaming will be added to consoles and the Xbox app on PC later this year. Xbox Cloud Gaming in a browser is on the cards for Game Pass Ultimate members too, but it doesn't have an exact date. Microsoft may have just recently released the Xbox Series X/S, but apparently, the company has more hardware and platforms to reveal in the future. An Xbox executive has officially confirmed that Microsoft is already looking at the future of Xbox. CDP of Gaming Experiences and Platforms Liz Hamren recently appeared in a video in which he discussed the future of Xbox and the potential for upcoming hardware. According to Hamren, Xbox is already hard at work on future hardware and platforms. Although Xbox is branching out to mobile devices through xCloud, Hamren believes that consoles are the flagship gaming experience. Owners of the Xbox Series X and S may be taken aback by upcoming hardware, but the new consoles are still years away from being revealed and released. Xbox may be hard at work on new hardware and platforms, but those take several years to make, as evidenced by previous generations of Microsoft's gaming brand. While Xbox is branching out to other platforms through xCloud, Hamren emphasized the importance of consoles going into E3 weekend. While we continue to expand in PC and mobile, console remains our flagship experience, said Liz Hamren. We want to deliver the most powerful, capable consoles in the world, devices that empower our players to enjoy amazing games for years to come, including gameplay we can't even imagine yet. As usual, Microsoft does the talking, but this time Phil Spencer talks like an Xbox fanboy. Like the RDNA 2 quarrel, that the PlayStation 5 does not have RDNA 2, but AMD officially confirmed that PS5 does have RDNA 2, also they helped AMD in creating the Ryzen 2 chip. AMD also congratulated Insomniac Games for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for its benchmark visuals, and called it as the definition of RDNA 2. Ratchet and Clank looks fantastic, and the ray tracing is phenomenal, where it has 4K ray-traced reflections, which is very hard even in high-end PCs, and I doubt even if it is possible anywhere else. Insomniac Games are wizards, and now they are at the top in terms of consistency with quality. So shout out to them. I will do an in-depth review of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart later this week. Moving forward, we have news from EA, as EA confirms that hackers have stolen data from the company, including the source code for FIFA 21, but thankfully private player data was unaffected. At first, it looked to be a good week for EA. Although it had suffered numerous leaks in the run-up to its big reveal, EA finally shared official details and a first look at this year's Battlefield game, Battlefield 2042. But it's only been a day and the company has admitted that it has suffered a data breach and had data stolen by hackers. According to Vice, hackers on various forums claim to have stolen game source code and related internal tools from EA. Some of these forums are locked from public view, but one of Vice's sources has shared screenshots of the messages from the hackers. EA itself confirmed the data breach in a statement to Vice. It assures that no player data was accessed, so there shouldn't be any risk to player privacy. As for what exactly was stolen, the hackers say they have obtained the source code for FIFA 21, as well as code for its matchmaking server. They also claim to have the source code and tools for EA's Frostbite engine. The engine was designed by Battlefield Studio DICE, and has been used for a wide variety of EA's title, including the Battlefield series, FIFA, Madden, Need for Speed, and a few Star Wars games. Combined with other stolen information, such as software development kits, the hackers say they have 780 gigabytes of data which they intend to sell. They haven't publicly distributed any of the data itself, and have only posted screenshots to back up their claims of accessing EA's data. EA is already working with law enforcement and has improved its security in the wake of the breach. It adds that it doesn't expect the incident to have any sort of impact on its games or businesses. EA is only the latest games company to suffer a hacking incident like this. Earlier this year, Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher Studio CD Projekt also saw the source code for some of its games be stolen. Unlike EA's hackers, the CD Projekt hacker was willing to return what they stole back to the company if it met their demands, threatening to sell or leak the data if CD Projekt refused, which it did. And before that, Capcom suffered a possibly even worse data breach. Not only were a swathe of unannounced projects leaked online, but Capcom confirmed that personal data had been obtained as well. Among the victims were customers, employees, and even former employees who weren't with the company anymore. Speaking of data breach, CD Projekt Red has been having a tough time this year with many incidents surrounding its games and the company itself. Not only were there problems with Cyberpunk 2077 that have harmed the company's reputation, but CD Projekt Red also suffered a massive data breach earlier this year. In a Twitter post made to the official CD Projekt Red account, the company stated it has learned new information about the content that was stolen in the data breach. It seems that both source code for Cyberpunk 2077 and Witcher 3 has leaked online, as well as the personal information of previous and current employees. The company stated that it cannot release the exact type of content stolen, or whether or not it has been tampered with after it was breached. However, CD Projekt Red is working hard with multiple different law enforcement agencies, such as the General Police Headquarters of Poland, Interpol, and Europol to get the situation fixed as soon as possible. To make sure something like this never happens again, the company has also listed out the steps it has taken to protect its internal systems further. These updates include redesigning the core IT infrastructure, installing next-generation firewalls and advanced anti-malware protection, and implementing a remote access solution. Additionally, CD Projekt Red has taken steps to limit the number of privileged accounts with access rights, improve event monitoring mechanisms, and expanded its internal security department. All of this has been in coordination with external cybersecurity and IT specialists to protect its information in the best possible way. CD Projekt Red ended the update by stating that the company is committed to protecting the information of employees that was stolen, and that it will take swift action against the parties responsible for the breach. The CD Projekt Red data breach happened back in February, when hackers used ransomware and claimed to have taken data for some of the company's games, encrypted files of private documents such as NDAs and ID documents, and payroll and benefits information of employees. All of this information was deleted from the servers, but the hackers left a note saying they made copies. Back then, there wasn't exactly proof of the validity of the hackers' statements since there is no evidence of data being transferred out. Now it seems the company has a better idea of the information that is circulating on the internet and is taking the steps to amend the situation. Details on Square Enix's rumored Guardians of the Galaxy project have been relatively scarce, though reporter Jason Schreier recently provided some insight into the game. When gamers do see Guardians of the Galaxy in action, they may be surprised that it is not live service. The last time there were murmurings about the Guardians of the Galaxy game was all the way back in 2017, though in the 3 years since, little more has been said about the project. Thus far, gamers only know that the project is apparently being developed by Eidos Montreal. Still, with that studio being behind the excellent reboot of Deus Ex, gamers quickly got excited about the project. Now, years since it was first rumored, fans have gotten too exciting details about the game. When speaking with the members of the Triple Click podcast earlier today, Schreier stated clearly that the game will be at Square Enix's E3 conference. After all, with Eidos Montreal confirmed to be in attendance, it would make sense if the long-rumored game is finally shown off to the public. It is not specified how much of the game fans will see at E3. However, the far more interesting detail mentioned is about what type of game Marvel fans can expect. While Schreier did not specify the genre in his comments, he did clarify what type of game Guardians of the Galaxy will not be. According to Schreier, it is not going to be a live service game of any kind. This means that it should not be too similar to Marvel's Avengers, something that many will likely see as good news. With that game defined by its struggles to succeed in an already competitive live service environment, Square Enix avoiding live service may be for the best. With the publisher known for its quality single-player titles like the Final Fantasy franchise, delivering something in that style could turn out to be thrilling for fans. Still, gamers have no idea as to what the Guardians of the Galaxy project is actually like, as most details remain hidden. While it could take a Mass Effect approach and see players filling the shoes of Star-Lord as he recruits the rest of the Guardians as companions, it could let gamers control all the heroes. At the same time, the game could still feature online co-op, simply shying away from live service elements. Regardless, it is an exciting time to be a Marvel fan. While not officially confirmed, a new Guardians of the Galaxy game might just be revealed in a few days' time. It should turn great, unlike Marvel's Avengers, which is yet to make a comeback. 2021 will be a monumental year for E3. The Electronic Entertainment Expo will be all digital for the first time ever, a decision that was made in response to the worldwide pandemic. This big change is an exciting one, but also one that comes with a bit of trepidation, as many changes do. But especially if the 2021 Digital E3 event is successful, fans could be seeing the expo utilize digital functionality moving forward, specifically in a hybrid nature with a return of the in-person E3 as well. The cancellation 0th E3 2020 was one of the biggest happenings in the world of gaming last year. Because the pandemic began so close to June, the Entertainment Software Association, ESA, did not have enough time to regroup and come up with a backup plan. This year the event is all digital, but according to ESA President Stanley Pierre-Louis, the expo could be hybrid moving forward. While speaking with GamesIndustry.biz, Pierre-Louis said that the ESA is hoping to host E3 2022 in person next year. However, some of the fresh ideas that have come with this all-digital E3 in 2021 have opened the doors to combining digital and physical in a more tangible way next year and beyond. Pierre-Louis said his focus is on E3 2021. However, what he is looking to do is learn from 2021 and see what the ESA, and members of the industry will be able to take with them in future years. The gaming industry is going all digital in 2021, but if and when it returns to a physical form, and that seems to be the plan with E3, the digital thumbprints will likely remain. The digital E3 event will be very different from previous years. There will be obvious cons, such as the idea that the show floor is not available to the public where countless eager fans would check out upcoming titles. However, the new structure allows the messaging to be directed right to the fanbase in an interesting way. There are many ideas that have come out of a digital E3. E3 2021 has its own dedicated app and online portal this year, for example. Pierre-Louis also talked a lot about the idea that streaming and gaming, and those avenues are continuing to push the medium forward. There were reports that E3 2021 could have demos that would be pushed out to fans to play at home, almost as if they were walking through a physical show floor. Even if that idea is not yet ready in 2021, it is very plausible that this concept is the type of thing that could be implemented in a hybrid E3 approach in the future. Speaking of events, 2020 served as a year many found themselves missing regular events in, and the Game Awards had to adjust by streaming it live to a mostly empty studio. Luckily, this year serves to also be a comeback for many, and the Game Awards is joining in with that as well, with an announcement at Summer Games Fest that the 2021 show in December will allow in-person attendance. For the longest time, with award shows such as the Golden Globes or the People's Choice Awards representing all kinds of forms of entertainment, video games went without the same type of recognition. That was until 2014, when Jeff Keighley came forward with the Game Awards, an award show aiming to give necessary achievements that the best video games of the year required and deserved. Part of the awards show for the last 5 years was the attendance of special guests, as they accepted their awards and showed off announcements in the form of the Game Awards world premieres. The crowd could be heard reacting to the trailers shown, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, that part of the show was missing. As part of the Summer Game Fest, Jeff has expressed that the show will once again have the award winners and nominees in attendance at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. Beyond that confirmation from Keighley himself during the event, not many details are known, but Keighley has said that more details will be available this summer. For what guests are invited, and just what the show has in store, viewers will have to wait for the Game Awards to be streamed again, or they may find out with their own eyes in person after a long year of social isolation. The Game Awards has always provided entertaining surprises in the form of announcements and live performances. While Summer Game Fest delivered on plenty of world premieres and its own surprises, for the regular attendees of the Game Awards, going back should feel like a breath of fresh air, as the presence waiting there might be all the sweeter. Perhaps the expectations may lead to the opposite effect, however. Some gamers have voiced opinions that the general feel of the Game Awards seems slightly sold out to the big-name gaming companies, and the show returning fully back to normal may lead to more of the same rather than anything new like the Game Awards promises and strives for. All the same, December leaves plenty of room for announcements to make 2022 one to look forward to with the Game Awards help. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and if you want to contribute for the growth of the channel, the link to my PayPal in the video's description and in the channel banner. As my resources are very limited, donations are always appreciated, and it can help me to create more contents and share news consistently, and could open doors for live streams, game playthroughs, podcasts, merch, etc. Thanks for watching the video, subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then from SMPV it's goodbye.